In the past 20 years, America has spent more than $30 billion putting technology in the classroom. But in that same time period, American reading scores have fallen to a 20-year low, according to the National Assessment of Educational Progress. So that leads to a pretty uncomfortable question. If we've added more technology, why are children struggling to read more than before? One of the biggest classroom changes in the past 2 decades has been the rise of a tool used in the classroom with struggling readers, particularly dyslexic students, called text-to-speech. In the school setting, most often a student wears headphones and the text that they're reading is converted to auditory form so they're able to listen as they follow along. Text is turned into speech. And today I want to explore a difficult question. Is this technology helping children learn to read or quietly replacing reading? Now, to be clear, text-to-speech absolutely can help children comprehend text. They will answer more questions if they're listening to the text as they're supposedly reading, or at least following along. That's been proven. Text-to-speech does improve comprehension of the text. But does it teach reading? Is that reading? I'm a little worried that some of the key skills that need to take place are not taking place. Access to the content is not the same as reading the content. Access isn't reading. Reading requires decoding. It requires automatic recognition. It requires an understanding of phonics and punctuation. And I'm worried that is missed when students rely on text-to-speech. Reading skill develops when you struggle with words, when you struggle to decode. And text-to-speech avoids that struggle, but is reading skill going to be developed when it is used? There's another issue that just doesn't get talked about enough: measurement. If a student is using text-to-speech technology while taking a reading comprehension test, what's being measured? Reading comprehension or listening comprehension? I'm aware that there are a multitude of studies that show that comprehension goes up when a struggling student uses text-to-speech. But once again, what are we measuring? Please let me know how you feel about it in the comments. This issue becomes even more important when we talk about students with dyslexia. Students with dyslexia struggle with decoding and phonological awareness. That means they need to do more decoding, not less of it. More phonetics, not less of it. But text-to-speech takes that struggle away. And well, isn't that a good thing, Keith? Not if a grade level reader that doesn't need text-to-speech is the goal. I've worked with many dyslexic students that were heavily reliant on text-to-speech, and it wasn't because they couldn't learn to read. It's because they were never given the explicit instruction that would allow them to read. So if a student goes down to the resource room and text-to-speech is the main strategy used there, they're never going to, in my opinion, get to grade level. And then we've got to think about human nature. I've literally had students look up at me and say, I don't have to do this. And I'll say, why? And they'll say, well, at school, the text is read to me. In other words, if students know that text-to-speech is going to be there for them when they take the test, it takes away some of the motivation to do what is admittedly hard, which is learn to read. And that's not laziness. That's just human nature, right? If there's an answer to the struggle that's easier, a third grader is going to take it. Here's something interesting. On the National Assessment of Educational Progress, Massachusetts has the highest reading scores, and it also has the most restrictive policies on text-to-speech in the nation. Think about that. The state where students are reading the best have the least access to text-to-speech. Only students that show severe disabilities can use text-to-speech on language arts tests. That should tell us something. Massachusetts feels decoding is a skill that should be taught, not bypassed with text-to-speech. Now, their scores aren't perfect and they have a long way to go, but I find it interesting that the state with the highest scores restricts the use of text-to-speech in the classroom the most. I've had parents tell me, hey, Keith, the school is pushing this so hard, text-to-speech, text-to-speech, text-to-speech. And I'm like, okay, Would that be because they want the higher score on the test that will yield? Or is that because they feel it will teach your child to read? And I understand that there are people with doctorates and PhDs that are pushing text-to-speech, but people with doctorates and PhDs also pushed whole language. And whole language was a disaster, especially for dyslexic students. Just because someone in a position is pushing an idea doesn't mean the idea is good. Here's what I believe. Dyslexic children and struggling readers can learn to read if given explicit instruction that focuses on decoding and fluidity and punctuation. They can learn to read. And I need you to ask yourself this question. If your child is heavily dependent on text-to-speech, are you accommodating struggle or teaching skill? Because my concern is text-to-speech will give your child an easier road to graduation, but he won't be able to read when he graduates. My program, No Fear Reading, teaches parents how to teach their children to read so they don't need text-to-speech. If you'd like to learn more about that program, you'll find a link in the descriptions below. If you'd like to learn how your dyslexic child may be seeing words and a strategy to help them decode what they're seeing, check out this video. Please subscribe. I'll always have more coming out. And please leave me a comment about how you feel about text-to-speech.